That's a good word to start the show, Marcus.
Yeah, that's the best.
Should we try doing it in ASMR style
No,
this time?
no.
Hello, everybody. Today,
What the fuck are you doing?
You haven't seen ASMR videos, Marcus?
No, because I'm not a loser, so no.
Okay, well, thanks for that. But anyways,
Okay, it's honestly just because I don't know who the fuck he is.
who?
I don't know. Doesn't matter what the fuck you call it or what the fuck it was.
ASMR videos are videos with people where they talk into a microphone like this, and then they do weird things like scratch their beard, weird things like that while talking like this, and it's really weird and cringy.
Yeah. I could guess that.
But it's pretty funny.
Probably.
And I think, because the most popular ASMR people are girls, hot girls. And
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, so there's probably a lot of dudes jacking off.
You think so?
Yeah.
You're one of them, I guess.
I'm not one of them, because you want to know why? I've discovered this amazing thing on the internet called porn. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know why these people haven't.
Me neither.
It's kind of like these magazines that like still have like naked girls in them, right? And people will complain if like they move the pages or like they get more clothes on, like for example, if they started being naked and now has a bikini on or whatever, people will like write in and like write, "What are you doing? She needs to be naked. I'll gladly pay more for this newspaper for her to be naked." And it's like, just go on the internet.
Yeah, okay.
Like, what's the point? You know?
Yeah.
Anyways, so welcome to the 9th episode of the M&M podcast.
And we haven't been here in a while.
Like 6 months.
Yeah.
But fuck it, right?
We were busy.
Who cares? Nobody watches. Anyway, so
Yeah, that's true.
let's get started. Today, we're gonna talk about an ever-growing I don't know if it's growing. An epidemic, I guess I call it.
It's an epidemic.
With people that are getting kidnapped.
Ah, shit.
So it's gonna be a special themed episode of the M&M podcast.
Should we do this from now on? Like themes.
Yeah, I think that would probably be a good idea.
Yeah.
Because otherwise it ends up getting random and boring, or it ends
random and funny. I don't know.
Or it ends up with me having to do like way too much work on it.
Yeah, true.
I don't want to do that.
Too much editing. That's true.
So fuck it. All right. So today we're gonna talk about especially the story with Amanda Berry, Georgina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight. And it's because I've read up on this story. I've read the book that they've all released. They've released 2 books. The 2 girls have released 1 book together, and the last girl have released a book as well. And you want to hear the story, Marcus, because you don't know, right?
Tell me the name of the books first.
They are called Hope, a memoir of survival in Cleveland.
That's one of them.
Yeah, and the other one is called Finding Me.
Okay, no, I haven't read them though.
Do you know the story?
They got kidnapped.
All right. So, on August 23rd, 2002, a young woman was on her way to the social services center to stop them from taking away her child.
Yeah.
She was only 21 years old. She had a young child that social services had taken away from her unfairly. And she was on her way to the social services office to get her son back. And she couldn't find her way there. She didn't know where the place was. And so she stopped by a store, like a kiosk, to ask for help.
Yeah.
Ask for direction. And there was a man called Ariel Castro in the store. And he told her, "I know the way. In fact, I'll give you a lift." And she thought he was nothing more than a nice man. So she went with him into his car, and they drove onwards. And he said to her, when they had been driving for a couple of minutes, he said, "I have some puppies at home, because my dog just gave birth. Do you want one of those puppies for your son?" And she, of course, said yes. So they drove to his house. She went into the house. He said to her, "They're upstairs." They went upstairs, and he locked the door and kidnapped her. And then he took her to the basement, tied her up, and then for a couple of weeks just had her tied up in the basement with nothing. Like, she was just down there in darkness with him raping her several times a day and hitting her, being violent.
Yeah.
Then she was moved upstairs to one of his rooms. It was a big house. And she was moved upstairs to one of his rooms, and she was in there for a year. After a year, another girl went missing. This girl was Amanda Berry. She went missing the day before her 17th birthday. She was walking home from McDonald's. Well, no, sorry, it was Burger King. She was working at Burger King. She walked home from Burger King. She was almost home. It was not that great weather, and so when she saw one of her friend's dads roll up in his truck and ask her if she wanted to lift, she thought nothing more of it, and she got in his car. That man was also Ariel Castro. He took her to his house. He kidnapped her. A year later, another girl by the name of Georgina DeJesus was walking home from school. She had just left her best friend, which was the daughter of Ariel Castro, when he rolled up by the side of her and said to her, "My daughter is missing. I'm trying to find her. Can you help her? Can you help me find her?" And she said, "Of course, sure. It's her best friend's dad, sure." So she got in his car, and they drove to his house, and he kidnapped her. Michelle Knight also knew this man. She was also friends with one of his kids. And at the Burger King where Amanda Berry worked, so did this guy's son. Because Ariel Castro was a man who had 4 children already by the time of kidnapping these 3 girls. And he kept them there for how many years do you think he kept them there, Marcus?
I don't know, 6 maybe?
11 in total. So 11, 10, and 9.
Oh, shit.
And he would have kept them there for longer time. But on the 3rd of May, 2013, Amanda Berry was able to get out. But we're jumping ahead of ourselves. So they were in this house for a lot of years. Amanda Berry was there for 10 years. Georgina DeJesus was there for 9 years. And Amanda Knight was there for 11 years. Now, when Michelle Knight was there in the first year, she became pregnant no more than 5 times. And every time, he forced her to get an abortion by punching her in the stomach or throwing her down the stairs. However, he fell in love with Amanda Berry, the second girl he kidnapped. And he also tried to put the girls against each other, make them rivals, by giving Amanda the biggest room, all by her, to get, to be in all by herself, and taking the other 2 girls and putting them in the same smaller room next to it, to make a rivalry between them. And in 2006, shortly after Amanda Berry's mom had died from sorrow, Amanda got pregnant, and Ariel did not force her to get an abortion. He let her have the child, and so 9 months later, a baby was born in this house. Amanda, at this point, had not left the house, and none of them ever left the house in these years that they were there. So she raised her daughter in captivity for 6 years. And then, on the ever so interchangeable day, on May the 3rd, 2013, Ariel Castro had drove away without locking the door. Now, he had done this before, pretended to leave and not lock the door so that they would escape or try to escape, and then he could show up and beat them into submission so that they were scared of ever leaving, so that he could keep them there and not be scared of them trying to escape. Multiple times he also had people over, almost every day actually, because he was in a band, and they were rehearsing in his house a lot. And they came over while the girls were upstairs being held hostage, and they never found out. Nobody ever found out. And this day in May 2013, he had drove away, and her daughter, the daughter she had given birth to in captivity, she was the only one allowed to run freely in the house. And so she ran downstairs. She said to her mom that that her dad was gone, that his car was gone, and normally his car would not be gone if he was like pretending to leave. So he actually was gone, and even though she was scared, she made a decision that she had to get out of this house so that she could continue to raise her daughter. Also because at this time her daughter was 6 years old, and she was starting to notice that something was wrong, that this wasn't normal life, that her dad had these girls, held in captivity. And so to not make this worse, to not make her another victim, her daughter, she decided, you know what, I need to get out of this house. So she walked slowly down the stairs, and he wasn't there. And so she ran to the door. It was unlocked, and she opened it, but there was a cabinet, like a lot of doors have, like this very thin cabinet that was bolted to the frame, so that that was locked. That was always locked. And so she was kicking and screaming, and she could just get her hand out of the door. And so she was screaming like, help me. And according to her diary, an older woman came up to her, and she said to her, I'm Amanda Berry. I've been missing for 10 years. Because the interesting thing also about this story was that two of these girls, the two youngest, Amanda Berry and Georgina DeJesus, Amanda Berry was the day before her 17th birthday that she was kidnapped, and Georgina was only 14 when she was kidnapped. So both of these things were widely publicized, in the media, right? The media talked about it a lot and continued to talk about them all these years after, and with every anniversary of their disappearance, they would make a news program about it. So it had been widely televised. And so when Amanda screamed to this woman, I'm Amanda Berry, I've been missing for 10 years, she said to her, no, you can't be Amanda Berry, she's dead. People thought she was dead. She'd been missing for all these years. Even her mom had given up after being taken to a television interview where a psychic, a medium, as they like to be called, had told her that her daughter was dead, even though she wasn't. And so she didn't believe her, and so she walked away again. But then a man by the name of Charles Brown walked up to this house, and he told her, according to her diary, he told her, there are different versions of the story, but he told her that she could get that she could kick the lower part of this aluminum door, this thin, linnet door, that she could kick it open, because that wasn't as strong as the rest of it. And so she was able to do that and able to get out and take her daughter with her. And she ran to his house, Charles Ramsey's house, and called the police. And there is a live recording of the 911 call, or the 911 call that she made, and we can just take a listen to it.
I've been kidnapped, and I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here. I'm free now.
Okay, and what's your address?
2207 Seymour Avenue.
2207 Seymour. Looks like you're calling me from 2210.
Huh?
Looks like you're calling me from 2210.
I can't hear you.
It looks like you were calling me from 2210 Seymour.
Yeah, I'm across the street. I'm using the phone.
Okay, stay there with those neighbors. Talk to the police when they get there.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, talk to the police when they get there.
Okay. Hello?
Yeah, talk to the police when they get there.
Okay, I'm right now.
We're going to send them as soon as we get a car open.
No, I need them now before we get back.
All right, we're sending them, okay?
Okay.
All right, so that was her 911 call. And she was very dramatic, yeah. And she was very frightened. And then when the police arrived and she was taken to their car, she screamed to them, there's two other girls in the house. And so they walked in the house, and they walked upstairs. And these two girls, they were still upstairs, the other two girls, Michelle Knight and Georgina DeJesus. And they thought it was him. Michelle Knight thought it was Ariel pretending to be a police officer, because a police officer was screaming, was yelling from the stairs, "This is the police." But she thought it was probably him, because he had done these things, these manipulative things, to try to make them think that they could escape, and then, boom, And so so she didn't believe it. And it wasn't until these two police officers that had gone into the house actually came into the room where they were locked up in, that these two girls actually saw they were real police officers. And that is the point when they were able to get out. And turns out it was the first mistake that Ariel Castro had made in 10 years that was able to let these girls out. And they were able to arrest Ariel Castro as well. And about a month into his captivity, he was giving his sentence. He was given the highest sentence he could. There were a lot of sort of questions in regards to him getting maybe the electric chair. But he got life in prison plus 1,000 years without any chance of parole. So he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison.
Yeah.
But after only a month in his prison cell, he committed suicide by hanging himself. Now,
scared cat.
Yeah. Now, this, of course, was hard for these girls, because the fact that he had held them in captivity for 9, 10, and 11 years, and then wasn't even able to stand 1 month in a cell without killing himself, is obviously, shows how much of a coward he was. But also was hard for these girls, especially also for Amanda Berry, because that meant that she could never confront him. That meant that her daughter could never confront her father about what he did.
Yeah.
And it's a very tragic story, but I find it very interesting, especially also because after I read all about it, I went to the Cleveland local news channel that is in Cleveland, Ohio, and I saw news broadcasts that they have uploaded years ago to YouTube, and that was before they knew that Amanda was out. So it was like newscast of saying, "Oh, now it's been 7 years since she went missing," or "We think she's been found now," or like her body's been found. And, like, these different whenever different information came out. And it's interesting to go back and watch, because these were uploaded to YouTube in 2008, 2009, and so way before they were released. And so it's interesting to go back now and listen to them say, and listen to the other people in Cleveland getting interviewed and saying, "Oh, we don't think there's much of a hope. They've been missing for all these years now. We don't think, And the interesting part is also that Amanda Berry was watching all of it, because all of these girls had a TV in their room. And so they would watch the news about them, and they would watch programs about them themselves. And so that's also a little bit, it gives you a little bit of goosebumps when you go and watch these news broadcasts from all these years ago, and you think to yourself, well, these girls were watching these newscasts about themselves on this TV station. And Amanda Berry also watched the talk show program where her mother was on with this psychic that told her that her daughter was dead, even though she wasn't. That made her mother die of sorrow, because she gave up hope after that.
Yeah.
So this psychic, this medium, as they like to be called, she was also questioned about it, obviously, and criticized a lot about it afterwards, because she had done it before. She had said to parents of kidnapped children that they were dead, only for these children to be found alive. And so she was criticized a lot, and the only thing she did was she wrote on her Facebook and said, that she had been right a lot of times, but of course she was glad this time to be wrong. And then a few months later, she died. So she died in 2013, the year that these girls got out, like half a year after. So, but in my personal opinion, she should have gotten a prison sentence as well, because that's kind of a assisted murder to tell these parents, because she told Amanda Berry's mom that she was dead, leading her mom to give up hope and then die. So, isn't that illegal? Shouldn't that be illegal to tell people?
Just to tell them such a huge lie that you actually like lose hope and die.
Exactly.
That's a big freaking deal.
Exactly. So, I just think it's an interesting story, especially also because there's currently right now there are thousands of kids that are missing all over the world.
Sadly enough.
And a lot of them, sadly, have been missing for years. But statistically, what this means is some of them are bound to be alive still. Because this is not the first time that this has happened with these 3 girls. It's happened multiple times that the girls have been in captivity and then have, been able to escape on, one way or another, and then have come out in the media and, people have heard their story. So there's got to be actual victims out there right now that have been kidnapped years ago that are still alive.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty spooky thought. That when you see on the news, you hear the news about young girls that have been kidnapped, or boys, for that matter.
Wait, boys? Yeah, okay.
Boys also get kidnapped.
Of course.
And you hear these newscasts about them. It's a spooky thought to think maybe these people that they're talking about are actually watching this on the news right now.
Yeah.
In the house that they are being held captive in. Or
a container or what the fuck.
But the police have also been widely criticized in this case because they were not able to find this guy despite him being widely linked to this case, because all the 3 girls knew him. They knew his children, and he only lived like a few blocks away from the 3 of these girls' houses. But all 3 girls were kidnapped on the same street, and the police never found out who did it.
Okay, that's like weird that they didn't figure that out.
Exactly. So the police have been widely criticized, also especially because they've even like interviewed people that could have where it could have taken them to his, to bring his arrest. And also, in fact, Ariel, he told in court, he said that he had walked into the school of Georgina DeJesus and his own daughter to look for his daughter the day he kidnapped Georgina DeJesus. And so he said if they looked at the CCTV from that day, they would have been able to recognize him. And he actually thought that would, that would make him get caught.
Yeah.
But it didn't. And turns out the school had erased the CCTV without thinking any more of it, so the police couldn't get it. So it's just there's a lot of holes in this investigation. So I don't know, Marcus. What do you think about all this?
Well, as we have said before, I think it's fucked up because how can a man actually get himself to do this, to kidnap 3 girls and just keep them captive for 11 years in total? That's a very long time, very long time.
But I think we should end this episode. So let's
without further ado,
let's get going, Marcus. Has it been an interesting episode?
I think it has. It has been very educational.
Very educational.
We've learned something.
We've all learned something.
Remember, you always learn something new every day.
Every day.
Even though you don't notice it.
Go seek education.
Don't get criminals.
All right. Goodbye. Do you want to say goodbye, Marcus?
Okay. Goodbye. Goodbye. Bye.